Okay. So normally I start one of these videos off with, I was out on a walk the other day, but this one's going to be a little different. Rather than share one of those realizations, I'm going to give you one of my maxims, one of the things that I think about a lot and how it affects my overall conduct in life. It's really important to me, and I think it could work for you as well. There is no third option. Let's get into it. All right, I'm gonna try to do this all in one take or as few takes as possible to bring a certain level of authenticity, because this is just me speaking about my thoughts on something that's really important to me. So I use the word maxim, right? Oxford Languages defines the word maxim as a short, pithy statement expressing a general truth or role of conduct. So for me, the maxim of there is no third option is kind of like one of the vegetables of life where like I know it's good for me, but it doesn't exactly taste super great, but it's good for my overall health. So I just kind of deal with it, and I've kind of gotten to like the taste of it. So here's what I mean by this. Imagine there's a goal that you have or something that you want to do that you don't necessarily want to do. Like your taxes, or well, if you haven't done your taxes by now, you might you might have some bigger problems, but something like that, or you want to go to the gym and work out more or accomplish some goal or something like that. No matter how intricate or complex the things you need to do are, it generally boils down to two options. You either are going to do the things necessary to complete that task or accomplish that goal, or you're not. And I would spend a lot of my life kind of lamenting and being annoyed by the things that I would have to do, certain responsibilities. Like, for example, like if I didn't like taking the trash out, it's like, oh man, it's trash night again. That whole thing. But what I realized last year is that every ounce of energy I spend on thinking about, man, I wish this was different, or I wish this was easier, or X, it's wasted energy on a third option that doesn't exist. Because using the trash example, no matter how I feel about taking out the trash, ultimately I'm going to have to do it. So if I spend all kinds of energy being bent out of shape about it, is that a great use of my time or energy? No. After I spend all that, I'm still going to take the trash out anyway. If I don't feel like going to the gym, but I want to get in shape, I can rue getting up early before, work or whatever effort it takes to go to the gym. Or I could just go do it. There is no third option. So there's no point in spending time and energy wishing something was different, wishing something was easier, going into my imagination about how things could or should be. They are what they are. Something that really resonates me when I think about this is I try to give personification to whatever my goal is. Let's say if I want to become a web developer and I want to start learning a programming language or something like that, that could be a long, arduous process. There are a lot of things you have to pick up and learn and things to that effect. And it doesn't care. The act of becoming a web developer does not care about how I feel or what I need to do to accomplish that. If I have to take out the trash or do the taxes don't care. You're either going to do your taxes or you're not. So spending energy being super bent out of shape about it is just not very effective overall. So one of the realizations that I've made about this is that no matter what decision I make when it comes to one of these things, like doing taxes or going to the gym, one way or the other, I'm going to suffer. Life is suffering when it comes to these particular options. I can either suffer the effort of getting up early and going over to the gym and all the stress and energy and how hard it is to do something like that. Or I could suffer the consequences of not doing that, of not getting into shape, and then looking at myself in the mirror and being like, man, I really should have gone to the gym, and I beat myself up about it. Or, like one way or the other, you are going to suffer. So if you are, you may as well suffer well. Like that. That's the realization that I've come to. And it really helps me out in that it helps me be more decisive. It helps me kind of cut to the chase on a lot of things that in the past I would have procrastinated or put off, or like I said, felt been out of shape about it to some extent. There is no third option. So every bit of energy I spend wishing there was is a waste of time. One thing that has really helped me out with this is something of a caveat. There is no third option, but normally if it's something that I really don't like or want to do, rather than spend that energy being annoyed that I have to do that thing, I spend the energy considering, well, is there a better way to do this? Is there a more effective way to do this? It makes me more proactive. It makes me more involved in the overall process. And no matter how it all plays out, I'm given more agency by just staring at the two options. Because depending on what it is, like not taxes, but depending on what it is, sometimes the better choice is to not do something, to assess all the different aspects of something and say, I'm not going to, I don't want to do that. And that gives me a lot of closure, it gives me a lot of finality, and it gives me a lot more poise in how I go about things. So yeah, there is no third option. You're either going to do something or you're not going to do it. There's going to be suffering one way or the other. So you may as well choose the suffering that best fits you and best fits your goals. And once you come to that realization, or at least this is how it's worked for me, is I feel empowered. It actually feels really good to be like, I'm choosing this with a bit of conviction. I'm kind of taking control of the situation. I'm not being imposed upon by making this decision. And that's a whole other topic that I want to talk about, like points of imposition, but that's another video. There is no third option. Whenever I'm met with some kind of thing, like I have to do something at work that I don't feel like doing, there is no third option. If I want to accomplish some goal, if I want to start a YouTube channel or learn some skills to become better at making YouTube videos, there is no third option. I'm either going to do the things necessary to accomplish that goal or to do that task, or I'm not going to do it. And I may suffer in doing it. I might not have fun. It might be boring. It might be hard or whatever. But I would also suffer if I didn't do those things and I don't enjoy the rewards that come from that, or I beat myself up for not doing it, or I don't make progress in something that is really important to me. So the more I think that there is no third option, the more I end up just choosing one of those options. And most of the time it ends up being the just do it. And then once it's done, it's done. So I don't know. What do you think? I feel like I'm onto something. I do think I could have formatted this a bit better. I've been really thinking about how I would present this idea, and the perfectionist in me wanted to just really slow things down and like really try to make some super fancy thing. And maybe I'll get to that point someday. But I was either going to make this video or I wasn't. And I got tired of beating myself up for analysis paralysis stopping me from just hitting the record button. So what do you think? What do you think about the idea that there is no third option? Do you think this is something that could help you? It's certainly something that helps me. I would really appreciate your thoughts. But until then, my name is Albert. This has been On to Something, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take it easy.